All right, y'all, here's the complete garden tour. Today is May the 21st, 2024, and look at this. So we're going to start at the Poor Man's Landscape border. I have a purple cayenne that I transplanted. We've got calendula. That's what this is. Those are flowers. I've got a bell pepper that I snuck in there, another bell pepper, calendula, kale. Look at this. Look at the carrots. They're kind of knocked over. I need to water this. I watered it this morning. I've got a radish that is going to seed, and I have a huge sunflower back there. This garden has done better than I ever expected. And some of my plants are flopping over because we have little kittens in them. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But guys, this is how you can, this is how you can turn your landscape into an edible garden. So if you will look here, I have lettuce everywhere. This was a salad mix that I got from M.I. Gardener. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what this is. Can y'all tell me what this is? I have no clue. But it's going to seed, and I'm letting it because I think it's pretty right here, and I'm just letting it do its thing. I don't care if it comes back or not. In the seed, I don't think it will. There's where the kitty cats have been laying back there. We've got some, there's more of that stuff. I don't know what it is. I've got to get some bug control on this, but if y'all watched my video earlier today, I've not had time. Got a tomato back there I transplanted, but this, look at all this. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. I've got my hydrangea here that I pruned back severely, and I've got one little pink bloom. It's always been blue. You can tell by this that I've changed the acidity of the soil. I used a lot of pine needles and shavings, and I think that's what will turn it pink, acidity. I'm not sure. You can check me on that though. But I know it will change hydrangea. So look at this, look at this, look at this. All right, I've got some sunflowers coming up here. A lot of this I went back in and replanted. I have one huge bell pepper, corn. I had 2 stalks of corn, and I'm going to talk to y'all later on about some seeds that I ordered this year, and I was not happy at all. I had poor germination with a lot of my seeds. I'm not too happy about that. I've got a volunteer fern coming up back there, just letting it roll. I have this little cherry tomato plant. These were bought. That is Sun Sugar. Because y'all, if y'all remember, the bloodhound that we've got decided she wanted to eat all of my tomato transplants, the ones that did germinate, and that took out all my cherry tomatoes. So we've got zinnias everywhere, and then look at the okra doing beautifully. The red okra, you can see in there, that little red stalk, more so at the end. Well, hey, what you doing? Hey, that's Buster Brown. That's Buster Brown. I think Buster's a girl. We thought it was a Buster, but it's going to be a Bonnie. So here we have borage. This is borage, and I noticed this morning when I was watering this that I've got some little bloom heads somewhere. Now, all these are the Jahardale pumpkins. I've got some yellowing of the lower leaves. I'm not worried about it. It's putting on runners and doing beautifully. So there's that. Another Jahardale. We have, I can't tell you. I'm going to have to go back and watch. I've planted so much, I can't tell you what that is. I really can't. Here's the red okra right there. If you'll see the stem, like the stems are red. Beautiful. Another cherry tomato, Jahardale. Look at this. Got a bug problem down here that's been nibbling at it. Look at this. Beautiful. I've got a bell pepper, and I picked my first bell pepper off this weekend and ate it. It was great. Another tomato here. I've got some borage back there. Zinnias everywhere. And the pumpkin may just take it over. I don't know what I was thinking when I did it this way. More zinnias. Oh, there it is. There's my borage bloom. I cannot wait to see that borage grow. And this is, you could use this herb for many things around the home. So I'm excited to have, this is all I'm going to have for herbs this year, guys, because I didn't get my herb bed built. But it actually is, it's very pretty. It's very pretty. So let's keep going on around. I've got some sunflowers back there against the brick wall. We've got zinnias here. I left that gap open for the Jahardale to run, but the rest I did not. So I don't know if I've taken out my plants or what. I've got some red okra down here. It's not doing that great. This is where the sunlight starts to fade. They don't get as much. Got some zinnias, got a sunflower, lettuce. This is the only part right here. If you'll see that dip, This is on the northern end of the house, but it's on a hillside and this slopes down. So when it rains heavily, and we had some torrential rain over the past couple weeks, it beat my lettuce seed just into the ground. Okra's not going to do that well over here. I didn't think it would. I just scattered it out anyway, so I've got a spare mimosa. Now, look at this. Look at my front yard, y'all. There's the porch. Look at this. I can't get over it, how much it's grown. If y'all will remember, I did my chicken manure video, and I said I was side dressing everything. Well, I did, and here it is. So we've got a row of zinnias here. I have banana pepper everywhere. And then I start my bells. I've got 2 that I need to pick tonight. I've got some weeds I need to get out, and then 2 bananas at the end. I planted verbena in between the zinnias and the peppers 3 weeks ago. I've not seen sign of verbena anywhere. We've got that huge sunflower. I've got more sunflowers back there. That was just a crapshoot to see if it would come up. They're leggy, if you can see all along the back line. I just want to see if they come up. All right, we've got our black brandywine tomato. He's huge, huge. We've got more tomatoes everywhere. We've got little tomatoes on these plants. They're doing great. I've got lettuce in between and then a cherry tomato at the end. But look at the bell peppers. Like, I need to pick them tonight. You can see him up under there. So, that is that. I have not, this blew my mind. How it looks, everything tall right here. This couldn't have been any better. I've got a weed right there. This could not have been any better. I am thoroughly, thoroughly pleased with this landscape. So, moving on along, I've got my 3 Long Island cheese pumpkins, and they're not doing too hot. The one at the back's doing best. My corn, I told you my blue Hopi corn did not do well. It's coming on. I side dressed it. The green corn on the back row back here is doing the best. We'll just see. This was an experiment. I have my first flowers blooming, and I will say this is probably the only flowers I'll get. I have never been more disappointed, guys. I planted probably 30 seed packets of flowers, and this is all I've really had. And this is the alyssum. But look how pretty. It's not like I intended it to be. I thought this was just going to be mounds galore. I mean, I think some will come on up, if you can see right there, but it's not what I thought. I thought I was going to walk out into a flower garden, and here we are. I mean, I've got dandelions bigger than that. So, hey, but you live and learn. I got one random lettuce seed by that corn. You live and learn. So, now right here, I've got some flowers that's come up. And guys, when I was doing this, I've got some sunflowers too. I was so rushed and so scattered. I don't know what I planted where. I really don't. But I do have a few things coming up. Zucchini. All of this, if y'all listened to my video earlier, I've not been able to work my gardens in the past couple weeks. All this needs to be staked. I've got a pumpkin right here. Zucchini's falling over. I've got to stake it. And my tomatoes back there around the cage. I had 1 die. The rest are laid over on the ground with tomatoes on them. So it will work. You can see one just kind of took up in the cage, but I've got to tie those tomorrow. The flowers was just a flop. I mean, a complete flop. Both sides. I've got some on the other side coming up, but not a lot. So let's walk on to the video y'all have seen me film over and over. The poor man's raised bed, and I want y'all to see this monster. So here it is. Ooh, this has blown my mind. Now, I told you a bunch of my corn got broke. It's not looking too hot. All of this up here got broke from the flood. I don't know how it stood back up. Some didn't. But look at the corn at the end. Now, it's pushing chest high on me, or shoulder high. Very tall. This is earth tone dent corn and Indian corn. I snuck some sunflowers down in here. Don't know if they'll make it. I put some in the middle where I had a gap. Don't know if it'll make it. Look at the tomatoes. I'm gonna pan around so y'all can see with the intercropping. These bush beans, I've never had bush beans this tall, and they got beat down this morning when I watered everything. I mean, beat down. But I mean, everything is humongous, humongous. My Atlantic giant pumpkins, look at this. This is what chicken manure will do. I thought that they would just not do really anything. Well, here they are. They're coming out of the bed. They've taken over, and it's a zoo. A zoo. So my plan is, and my theory, look at this. Look at the tomatoes. Now, there's that one I've been showing you that I did not put nitrogen beside with the bush beans. And then there's the one that I did. See the difference? I mean, there's no comparison. They're both doing great. One's got a tomato. I've got tomatoes everywhere. But my theory is with these pumpkins, these bush beans will be done in 2 weeks, okay? They're gonna bloom, do their thing. I'm gonna pick them and be done. The pumpkins can have the rest of the space to run, okay? That's my theory. We shall see. I've not even had time to get in this bed. And I want to show you, I said, where is this pumpkin going? This Atlantic giant. I've got to see where he's going. I couldn't find him. Well, I noticed one of my sunflowers, look over here. I noticed one of them had fell over. This pumpkin has ran up the sunflower. If you can see right there. I mean, just huge. So these pumpkins love this environment, whatever it is. But let me pan out so you can see this bed and how huge it's gotten. I mean, you can do this in your backyard for free. It's a jungle. I have got to get in here. I'm worried about snakes badly. This is a bad snake year. We've seen 2 timber rattlers already at our drive. People have seen snakes everywhere. As I'm filming this video, I'm scanning around, just looking, because it's going to be a bad snake year here. Sunflower's about to bloom. I got the camera way up. But, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. The corn back there, if you can see, it's huge. These were all volunteer out of chicken feed. I mean, that I drug up here, scraping up chicken manure, and it still had sunflower kernels in it, and they've sprouted. So, but there's the tomatoes. I do not see any blight over here. Well, I take that back. I've got one leaf that I see blight on. I need to spray these with copper, but these have done better. But they're further away from my other bed. It's airborne. It's going to get wherever. But if you can see, here's the little 10 by 20 bed. It's gorgeous. So let's go on over to the main raised bed, and we've got a mess and a half. So what I did, I'll walk up here to it. I planted lettuce on the back side back here when I had my English peas. I pulled all those up. Y'all have not seen this. I planted spinach. They say, oh, this slow bolt spinach or whatever, it won't bolt. Well, it's 85 today. It's been sustained, and there you go. It's bolting. I think it's just going to bolt no matter what. So what I did was I pulled up all the English peas, and I planted you can see my hoe right there, 2 rows of cucumbers. These are regular cucumbers from the feed store. Then, because my corn was such a mess over here and fell over, I didn't know if it would make it after the storm in the bed I just showed you, I planted my Cherokee Trail of Tears pole beans here instead of on my corn, because I didn't think my corn would make it. They've all come up. They've done beautifully. Now, I left a gap. Then over here, I planted 2 rows of pink-eyed purple hull peas because the deer ate all mine in the pasture. I just wanted some to have a few meals. They've not come up that well. I intermixed those with sunflowers. I've got a few of both. I'm just going to let them do, but I've got that huge gap right there to work with all these cucumbers. I intend to be a pickling fool this summer. All right, so here's my garden entrance. I planted zucchini. This is cocozelle. I had 2 plants come up, and I put probably 5 seeds in each hole. Nothing. I intertwined around here, companion planted radishes and kale. I don't want the radishes. I don't want the kale. If I can get something off of it, that's great. But if not, that's fine. I didn't want so much grass coming up because this border right here is awful with this for grass. So that's why I did it that way. It's worked great. I have had the worst seed germination this year that I've ever had in my history of gardening. Over here I did gray zucchini. I've had nothing come up. Well, one. And he looks pitiful. So that's that. I'm moving on along. We're going to try to replant it this summer. So look at the tomatoes, y'all. Look at the tomatoes. I pruned these yesterday. Got some airflow going in here. I made the bottom just clear as they could be. I've been still pulling cabbages. Look at my Savoy. He is just gorgeous. He's beautiful, but he's short and stocky. I want him to fill on in. I pulled my first red cabbage yesterday. Absolutely gorgeous. There is the lettuce at the bottom. I left a few beets. Squash I planted everywhere. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 come up. I've just not had good seed germination. Then on the back of this, and what I'm doing is growing these vertically. I'm going to prune them, okay? I planted contender bush beans to throw nitrogen to that, and it's in line with the back ones back there. Then I did a thin row of okra. Terrible germination. I did red burgundy and Clemson spineless. I think it was the time of year I planted it. I did some more bush beans on each side and some dill over here. I had all the weeds gone, pulled up all my onions, and I laid the onions around the bed just because I did. And I thought maybe it would keep the snakes away. I don't know. Y'all know I'm petrified of snakes. I had like one dill plant come up. I planted 2 packets of dill down that row. I've just not had good germination this year. And we're getting ready to order seeds for fall. I'm using a lot of different companies that I've never used before just to see. I want to show you the back side of these tomatoes and show you how they've grown. Look at this. Look at this. And y'all, let me tell you, unless you are just gung-ho about onions, you can see I've got an onion laying there. I wanted to grow onions because I never had before. The weeds were so bad when I hoed this out, I was chopping onions by accident. I just had a mess going on, okay? But to buy onion sets, it is cheaper to go to the store and buy a sack of onions, unless you just want to grow onions from set. I would start them from seed, which is very hard for a lot of people, or either I would just go buy a sack of onions, okay? I won't be doing this again. It was fun, it was cool, I got the t-shirt, but now I'm done with it because it was just not, it just took up, it really didn't take up space, but it just wasn't, I don't know. I didn't get a huge harvest off of the price I paid for the onion sets. These were Texas grano onions, so you can see a lot of it was wasted. But anyways, look at our tomatoes here. Woo, we got tomatoes everywhere. I'm trying to do this so y'all can see. Look at all this. I mean, it's just a humongous garden. Okay, look at that onion. See, it's just, I don't know. Okay, here's the tomatoes. We're running up the trellis. And so far, I have worked on those few, worked on those, have not worked on those, okay? These are what? I've got 30 tomatoes and 20 feet. So we're tying these with string, and I left it right here so you could see all the way up, and I'm loaded with blooms. It's doing great, and knock on wood, these were covered in blight, but I sprayed them with copper and they have just come on, and they're doing great. I've had no casualties in the tomato field. Now, I have one monster cabbage. Look at these bush beans. I've never had bush beans do this well. This is the year. If you see that right there, that's a radish going to seed. All those flowers, I'm just letting it be. I can't even get in there to deal with that right now. I've got to get this cabbage up. He's huge. That is, look at all this. I don't even know what he is anymore. I'm going to stake all these tomorrow and throw them back this way because we're getting some rain in, and probably going to put more chicken manure down. Do y'all remember me putting that trench of chicken manure everywhere? That's what I did here. And look at this. Look at it. Y'all see the results. I will never, ever go away from chicken manure. But anyways, there's the bush beans, and they are blooming and got little beans all over them. We'll pick those this week. That was 4 rows, and it's just taken over. You can see the field peas here. I've got some sunflowers, some field peas. It's just a few. I'm just letting it do its thing. I figured those would have come up, but they didn't. They did not do that well. I don't know why. I planted 2 rows of calendula here. Nothing. The soil looks bad right now. It's very dry. I watered it this morning, but the heat's come on in. Oh, look at those beans. Guys, we're going to be canning heavy next week. Heavy by the looks of this. Look at my squash. Y'all seen this squash come up, and I thought it's not going to do anything down here. Well, look at it. It's beautiful. All right, this bed, I don't think I've updated y'all on this. So I pulled up all my English peas there, and I left a trench. I said, well, I'll just put something else there. I'm glad I didn't, because this is the potting, no potting mix bed that I said was a zoo. This is the biggest mess I've ever seen. I know. I get it. We've not been able to work it. So, there's my black magic kale. It tastes great even in the heat. So if you're gonna do kale in the South, do black magic. This is premier kale. It'll hold, but it's got more of a bitter. That's my favorite. I love it. If you love kale, these are all bush beans. I left those volunteer kale plants in there. I should have pulled them up, and I probably will be pulling those this week. I've got tomatoes that are swallowed. They're completely swallowed, but everything seems to be in harmony. I don't know. I don't want to crawl through this bed. So let me show you. I planted 3 tomatoes here around a cage. 2 died, and I was going to grow red okra in the center. Something's got a hold of the red okra. 1 tomato plant, I need to stake him up the side or either move the cage around him. Look at this. That is my squash that has completely taken over. It's taller than the other bed. It does better. This is the bed where you can't touch it without worms. This is just, oh, this is what I'm saying, guys. Build a raised bed or buy one, whatever you got to do, and fill it with natural stuff. Throw junk in here and compost. Well, hey, baby. Just let it all work right here. And this is what you end up with. I have squash everywhere that we'll be picking by this weekend, it appears. Okay, y'all, so my phone died right in the middle of this. But anyways, that's the squash that I was going to prune. And there's tomatoes in that cage too. So I have got to prune these heavily tomorrow. Put some more banana peppers down here. There's another radish going to seed. Look at my cilantro. It's doing great. And we've got banana peppers everywhere. Carrots that I interplanted around the banana peppers. I can't get over that squash. I mean, I guess if it all else fails, just plant a squash inside a cage. I mean, look at it. This is the best I've seen them. And you've got tomatoes coming out the top. I mean, just crazy. There's more banana peppers all the way down with carrots. Basil. My basil is doing beautifully. I had it fresh last week with a pizza. Did beautifully, beautifully. So there's the back side of the garden. And I want to show you this really quick. Look at these. Those little tomatoes are the ones I said wouldn't make it. Look at this one. Yeah, we see you down in there. These cats follow me everywhere, these kittens. I've got a lot of weeds right here growing up, but I have my cucumbers in the grow bags. They have done excellent. These are all the Ashley cucumbers, and they have done beautifully. They're running up the trellis. That's just what I wanted them to do with these tomatoes. They're hanging on, they're attaching, they're doing great. So that's the technically 5-gallon grow bag, and they're doing great. And I planted 2 plants in each. So there's that. Last but not least, guys, I can't get over this. I know I've got to fix it. I've just got to get down here and fix it tomorrow. So here are my pumpkins that are growing in these planters. This one has suffered as far as watering. He is struggling. He's wanting to wilt during the day. Those 2 are doing great. You can't even, y'all remember my last video, my last tour, they were just barely coming up. They're going off down the hill. I've got a volunteer blackberry in there. They're doing excellent, and I've got one little pumpkin back there on a bloom. Hey, Briscoe. He's trying to get in the mix too. Blue Hubbard squash. These are a lot bigger than I expected, guys. Look at these things. I'm gonna try to back up. I have okra in there. They've taken over the okra. My corn here has done better than anywhere else on the property. I've not side dressed this. I've not done anything to it. It's very tall. It's all Indian corn. It's beautiful. But look at the Blue Hubbard squash. I mean, huge. Those are 3 plants. So they will take over. Beware. They're coming out in the yard here. Everywhere. I'm just going to kind of let them run along the border. But there's a pumpkin leaf. It looks almost like a watermelon. But I've grown pumpkins before, but not regular pumpkins. These are Connecticut field pumpkins. Blue Hubbard squash. And you can tell the Blue Hubbard squash, look at the leaves. They're 10 times the size of the other. I mean, huge. Huge. I've grown bush pumpkins, not regular pumpkins. So this is an experiment. I didn't know if they grow in those containers or not, but anyways, there's my cherry tree. We've got a lot going on here, guys. This is all just raised bed gardening. I mean, every bit of it. You can grow a lot in a small space, but you've got to prune like there's no tomorrow. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on Harmon Homestead.